Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go.
Hola amigas, ¿cómo estás? Y bienvenidas a Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. Quiero grabar un podcast en español porque me encanta practicar mi español, especialmente con mi hija. ¿Te gusta aprender idiomas también? ¿Hablas español también? Okay, I will not do the whole podcast in Spanish, but when I was sitting down to write my email to you this week, a lot of times when I go to record my podcast, I'll write my email first because it's a way for me to organize exactly what I want to say so I'm focused, but it gives me a little bit of freedom in the moment to speak from my heart, speaks from inspiration. And I wrote the entire email in Spanish. I just barely use Google Translate, not very much at all. So if you read this week's email and you are fluent in Spanish or Spanish is your native language, you can ignore my horrible grammar, but I just wanted to write it on my own from my heart. And the beautiful thing about learning a language is it really gives you so much grace and humility for other people that English isn't their first language or they're learning and trying new things, right? And it really puts you in the learner's mindset. I've been fortunate that because I grew up 8 minutes from the Mexican border, I had a lot of friends growing up who spoke Spanish. And so I kind of picked up a lot of Spanish as a little girl. I also took some Spanish in school. And then as an adult, I have a Spanish tutor. And I just really enjoy practicing. I really enjoy, there's something about speaking a different language that it's almost like a hobby in the sense that it really makes you turn your brain off. Kind of like when I go to yoga class, all I can think about is surviving the yoga class. I can't worry about my day-to-day worries in my business or as a mama, right? And I think a language does that same thing. It demands a lot of your brain. And I think for women that we're smart, we're quick, I think a lot of our problems in business can actually be solved by making sure we're not overworking, especially as we have more free time, right? For me, I had kids for a while, and so that was my time constraint. And kind of a blessing in that it forced me to have to work really efficiently. And businesses and smart women thrive in time crunches and efficiency. And so for many of my clients that their businesses grow and they make multi-six figures and they have more time freedom, something we work extensively on is making sure that they're filling their time with positive things so they do not overthink, they do not sabotage their business, they do not micromanage their team. And this is true even at the very beginning of your business. And it's interesting because I support some women that naturally only have 10, 15, 20 hours a week to work because they have kids or aging loved ones or they're battling a health issue, right? And some of my clients don't have that problem. They have a lot of time. Maybe they retired from a job or quit a job, or maybe their kids grew up or whatever, right? But either way, I find that the work I do is the exact same. And that is, I really think the 20-hour-a-week business is actually optimal. Even if you could work more, even if you wanted to work more. I just think that as smart women, it's really all we need. It's kind of like, I don't know, for me, when I worked a regular day job as a therapist and other jobs before, for me, really after 6 hours, like that's all I had in me. Like my level of productivity and focus and really kindness waned after 6 hours. I don't think we were meant to be a machine, you know? I think it's normal to need rest and play and unplugging. And yes, of course, during our work, we should be able to enjoy it and be creative too. But I do think there's something to the short work week, no matter what. And I think
when we're not working, I wanted to talk to you this week about what you do when you're not working. And I know this is a little bit untraditional because I know this is a business podcast. And I know I talk a lot about business tips and advice and how to sign clients and what to do during those 20 hours. But I want to talk to you about those other hours of the week. I did a live workshop last week, and one of the visual slides I had, a lot of people asked me exactly what I do for my 3-hour work week. So I share an exact screen grab of when I take client calls, right? I take most of my client calls on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I take most of my one-on-one clients on Thursday. I take most of my group calls on Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Like I showed an exact idea of when I record my content, when I meet with my team, all of that, because I think it can be a useful expander to see what that looks like practically for a multi-six-figure business. But then I also flipped the screen, I reversed it, and then I highlighted not my working hours, but my non-working hours. And I showed an example of my Google Calendar for the things I commit to outside of my work. For example, that week I was feeding my mom's cat, right? Random stuff. I was attending my daughter's dance recital. So I really think it's useful to see, I think for my audience, that it's so important that what we're doing outside of our work, we're doing outside of our business really lights us up, whether you have a six-figure business or whether you're just starting out. I think it's just as important because I think, again, like number one, going into our work hours lit up and encouraged and happy is so useful. Number two, I think having that constraint, knowing like, ooh, I've just got an hour to get this done. I don't know about you, but for me in school and college, I was super productive because I was like, ooh, I got to get this done by tomorrow. Not in like a scarcity way, right? But in an exciting type way. And for me, my business is a little different now where like, for example, I'm recording this podcast and it's not due tomorrow, right? The podcasts I record go live 2 to 3 weeks after I record them, but still I have the deadline to get it to my team to get things rolling, right? And I think when there is that constraint, that structure, those deadlines, those boundaries, but productivity and creativity thrives in structure. And so I really want to talk to you today about what are we doing outside of those business hours to fuel us, whether it is learning a language, whether it is taking a hobby. You know, I love taking dance classes. You know, I love taking improv classes. You know, I love going to restaurants with my children. I love playing games with my children. Like for me, and this is why we want to call it a happy, boring dream life. It's okay that it looks like whatever it is for you, whether it's traveling the country, whether it's renovating your home. But for me, ideally it's things that you enjoy and things that feel like an escape to you, and not all the things feel productive. My kids were teasing me yesterday because they're like, Mom, even the things that you do for fun are work. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, Mom, you go to the gym and work out. That's still working. You are tidying the house. That's still working. And I'm like, okay, it's true. Like it is interesting. And I told them like, yeah, but you don't see like sometimes when you're in school, I'm not working for all those hours, right? On Monday and Fridays when you're in school, I am taking care of myself. I'm going to my yoga class. Maybe that's work for them, right? But it is just this interesting conversation about this. And for me, this was a very brutal shift. I remember when I started going to Pilates during the day, I felt extremely guilty about it. Maybe you don't struggle with that, but I felt very judgmental around like, am I just one of those girls that like goes to Pilates on a Wednesday? And it's just interesting to think through. But what I want you to think about this week is do an experiment, right? I don't know if you have planned out your 3-day work week. If you haven't yet, oh my goodness, please download my free workbook, 3-Day Entrepreneur, and please map out your 3-day work week. It is life-changing. I know as entrepreneurs, we like don't want structure or rules, like we left corporate from that. But I find that all of my clients, I haven't found a single client that hasn't thrived with a little bit of self-created structure. Right? The difference with corporate is that corporate is creating the structure for you. So I think we're like, ooh, bad structure, no rules, no structure. And then we're like feeling loosey-goosey overwhelmed. No, we need structure. We just don't need someone else telling us the structure. Does that make sense? It's not the structure that was bad. We do this so much in entrepreneurship. We're like, I had a bad experience with someone selling to me, so no, I don't want to sell in my business, right? I had a bad experience with one man, right? So all men are bad. Like some of that stuff. No, we don't need to do that. There's nothing wrong. Like put on your heart right now, your hand on your heart and say, I love structure. I love systems. Like, that's another one. Like, when I tell women like to systematize or scale or hire a team, they're like, "Oh no, I don't want to be like, I don't want my clients to be neglected. I don't." And I'm like, "That's exactly why we're hiring team for you, because you're so overwhelmed. And if we don't hire a team, your clients are going to be neglected, right? We're so afraid as heart-centered women to systematize, to scale, to hire a team, to do it. Like, I remember the first time I had one of my VAs like help me keep up with comments on my social media. And I was like, oh my, and she was literally like hearting comments and writing like, great job. And I felt like, oh my gosh, like, do I feel okay as having my team do that, reply as me? I came to the conclusion that like, okay, for paying clients, people that pay me money, it will always be me. For people that aren't yet paying me money, I am okay with my team helping me out in a public space like a Facebook group and saying something general and positive like, great job. I'm okay with that, right? But it really, I think as heart-centered entrepreneurs, like everything, the reason business can feel slow is everything can feel like a moral battle or a moral struggle. And that's not necessarily bad, but I just want to acknowledge that being a human, living in integrity, being a heart-centered entrepreneur is harder than being an unethical entrepreneur. It just is slower. I think about that in life, not just in business. I'm like, damn it, why do I care so much? Why is my conscience so big? Why do I want to do everything right and ethical? And really, I cannot sleep unless I'm doing things well and right. And some of that I think is like religious baggage of like feeling overly responsible and guilty. Hashtag codependency that I released 6 years ago. But I do think some of this is just being a good human, being ethical and being kind and caring. And if one of my clients had to fire a team member and she was like, oh my God, like this is so hard. And I'm like, good, it should be hard. You are firing someone. And of course, it's a big story, right? Like she had warned them and it wasn't a fit, but we should feel something when we have to let someone go, right? And another client told me the other week, like, oh, someone's making this big decision to buy one of my programs and they're investing a lot of money. And like, I'm taking it serious. I'm like, good, you should take it seriously, right? I don't think it's like I tell my women in the fitness class I teach on the weekends, like, no, this workout is hard, but also you're capable of doing it. And I think sometimes we gaslight ourselves like, oh, business shouldn't be hard, or I should be able to this or that. Like, no, it is hard. No, these things are real. When you've worked with a client for 5 years and then that wraps up, of course you're sad. It's okay to be sad. And also you'll be okay and they'll be okay and you can hire another client. Like it's so interesting. I was talking in the workshop again last week about it's so interesting because most people perceive me as a fairly positive person, and I am, but I also just talk about dark, hard, sad things with my clients and friends all the time. And I think that's actually why I'm so happy. Because I'm not afraid to talk about the hard, the awful, the sad, like to tell my kids like life is full with hard things. And I think that's useful because then we don't gaslight ourselves and we're like, oh, what's wrong with me that hard things are happening in life, right? Or, oh, I'm going to wait to really dive into my business more when like it's easy. I don't really know that will happen, right? And not that we shouldn't make big life changes if, I am not advocating for chronic survival mode, right? There's chapters of survival, but then we put ourselves out of survival mode. We remove ourselves from people that are keeping us in survival mode, etc., right? But I really think this is an important conversation for women to have. Okay, that was a very large tangent, but I know someone needed it. I know someone needed it. Okay, back to the focus of today's podcast, which is how are you spending the hours of your life? So again, if you didn't already download 3-Day Entrepreneur freebie workbook, download that because that's going to help you create your 3-day work week. That's going to help you create, that's what I was saying. Structure is your friend, right? Having those 18 hours, whether it's 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. For me, I like to work around 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday right now. Whatever is your schedule, your self-created schedule, I cannot encourage you enough to create that. And the workbook that I created will walk you step by step through blocks, through desires. It's really a magic formula. I use it in my own life when I'm ready to redo my schedule, but create your work schedule. Okay? Promise? Pinky promise? Okay, great. Now let's talk about everything you're going to do outside of those hours, outside of that time. And it's so interesting because I think often as women, we're like, yeah, I work a 3-day work week, but it's not really by my choice because I have X, Y, or Z I have to do. I'm a mom. I have this day job. And we resent our the rest of our life. And what I want you to do is, for me, I mean, I've had several moments, honestly, where I was like, yeah, I'm so grateful I make multi 6 figures on a 3-day work week, but I don't even get to enjoy my time off because I'm a single mom, right? Because I got all like, we grieve the deck of hands we've been dealt, and we're not even, and then I got to a point where I'm like, yeah, but can I imagine if I was working a 40-hour a week job? There's no way I could take care of myself, take care of my kids, have the money I need to buy this house, have the time I need to attend their field trips. So just because life sucks or there's parts of our life that aren't ideal doesn't mean we shouldn't be thankful for our business. Doesn't mean, like, maybe you have a chronic illness and you're like, yeah, I work 3 days a week, but I'm bitter and resentful that the reason I have to is because I'm chronically ill and I have this back pain or whatever it is in your life that you're struggling with, right? Don't hold that against your business. I realized I was really being unkind to my business. And I was like, no, I need to be thankful for her. I need to be thankful for what she's creating for me, right? So what I want you to do is maybe take out a piece of paper and map out your dream work week for those things outside of your 3 days. What do you want to fill that time with? Maybe for you, you don't want to fill a lot of that time. And you know how I talk about freedom fund and creating a reserve of money for when life lifes? I'm also a big fan of creating reserve time in your schedule. That's one of my favorite things about a 3-day work week is I schedule everything for 3 days. So that way, if something tiny pops up in my life or business, I literally have a savings account of time where I'm like, oh, let's say I got sick on a Wednesday. I can literally just move those clients to Friday. Right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, once you work the 3-day work week, does that mean you never work on a Friday or Saturday? No, I can, but I don't have to. Right? And so for me, it's like having that buffer amount. I'm a big fan of like not scheduling every waking minute of your week and having that buffer time. I'm also a fan of allowing yourself to experience changes in your schedule. Those of you who are moms will get this, but I find that like life really changes a lot as kids grow, as kids' schooling situations change, as sports changes, but even for me, right? I used to enjoy certain type of workouts and now I enjoy other types of workouts. And so creating some fluidity in your schedule is so useful, but I like to create fluidity quarter by quarter and really commit to like, okay, for the next like month or 2 months or 3 months, this is what I want my work schedule to be. This is the type of workouts I'm going to do. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to do Pilates for the next 12 weeks, right? I think we're in a world of so many decisions compared to like even the decisions our parents had 40 years ago. We have so many options. Oh my gosh, let's just take like the business example for an example, right? Online business wasn't even an option. Now, not only do we have the option to have an online business, but we could literally do so many types of businesses, right? Versus more, it was like, okay, what businesses are by your house that, okay, you can either work at this ice cream store, you can work at that clothing store, you can work at this burrito shop, right? Now it's like, if you're a VA, you literally can help infinite amounts of businesses, right? And it's so interesting that there's such a scarcity mindset. Like, I can't sign clients in 2025. There's not enough for me. I think it's actually the opposite problem, that there's so many options for clients, right? For me, it was like, oh, do I want to do business coaching? Do I want to do life coaching? Do I want to do like, there's so many options that it's almost paralyzing. And I really think that there's decision fatigue. And that's why really, like when I think about how I'm going to work out over the next 12 weeks, I'm like, even though I'm an ENFP Enneagram 7, I'm really like, no, I'm just going to do Pilates for 12 weeks and then I'm going to reassess, right? No, I'm really going to launch this one program and I'm going to fill up this mastermind. And then after that, I'm going to reassess, but I'm not going to sell 19 things. I'm not going to have 15 freebies. I'm just going to mainly show up on one platform. I'm going to email my list. I'm going to sell out this one program, right? Really putting a lot of weight behind clarity and decisions. And this is the number one reason why I think you need a coach, period, is you don't need more information. You don't need to learn more. You don't need an extra team member. You don't need a copyright. You need a coach that's going to help you make decisions, to help simplify things, to actually help make things less. To make things less overwhelming. Like, you need less, you don't need more. And what I help my clients with is simplifying their to-do list, simplifying their content plan, simplifying their program, simplifying how they sell it and making it more potent. And it's really a mind bender because we think we're paying a coach money for more, but we're actually paying them for less to get rid of the distractions because money loves simplicity. You're a smart woman. You're a great coach. You have great programs, but it's really the clutter of the overwhelm of the world, of the news, of our family. Like, life is so overwhelming, and I really think that you don't need a lot of time each week to make money, but you do need clarity, you do need decision-making power, and you do need focus. And I only get that from my coach, from my therapist, from my closest girlfriends. Everything else literally adds noise. Literally. And lack of clarity. And the beauty of working with a coach that knows you, that loves you, that is in it with you, is it really is radical clarity. So don't make yourself wrong. And I think we tell ourselves, like, maybe you made a bad decision and bought another course or something. We're like, oh, I just need to get back and work on that course more. Or, right, like, oh, I made that bad investment, so I just need to, like, we guilt ourselves and shame ourselves and pressure ourselves instead of like, no, what I need right now is to work with a coach, and I need more clarity, and I need more decisions, and I need more simplicity on my strategy. Otherwise, nothing else is going to work in my business. Not creating more content, not hiring more people. If I don't have that clarity, that simplicity, that confidence. Okay, back to the other hours of your week, because if you work with me, I am going to help you determine the actions inside your business that will help make you money. They'll make you 6 figures on a 3-day week, right? But what about all those other hours? Of course, if you're my client, I'm happy to talk with you about that too. But I really think this is something that is a little more self-authored for you, right? What do I want those 5 days to be? Maybe it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And for me, I really like a routine. I think a big reason I don't travel very much, number one, kids. Number two is because I really love my life. Like, I really encourage my clients, like, yes, spend time traveling and planning for travels if you like that, but spend a lot of money on your life. Like, buy a house in a city that you love, buy furniture that you love, buy clothing that you love that's comfy for your body. I had a client the other day that like totally rebought her wardrobe in soft clothes that were comfortable to her, and I almost cried because how often do we neglect like buying new underwear, buying a new couch, like buying a new mattress? These things that really are so essential to our everyday life. We like go on vacation, we're like, oh, that mattress is so comfy. You deserve a comfy mattress every day of the week, right? And I am just such a fan of making your everyday schedule luxurious and enjoyable and relaxing. And again, having some sort of routine so you don't have to overthink it. And it can change up. Right now, every Sunday morning, I've been meeting with my girlfriends and we've been going for an ocean swim, which is super fun. But my guess is in the winter, we're probably not going to want to swim laps in the salty ocean. The cold ocean. Maybe it's San Diego. I don't know. But that doesn't matter. Right now, it's a part of my Sunday routine. And I think we're so afraid to commit to something because we think it needs to mean forever. We're also afraid of letting things go when things change. But I see this in business time and time again. When it comes to women picking their niche, their ideal client, their program, they're so afraid to be decided. I know for me, I was so afraid to like pick one message and pick the wrong message, and I didn't want to waste time. So I wanted to pick the perfect message, but I waste a lot of time not picking the message. Commit, decide. It's okay for you to decide. Right now, I'm going to show up and like go all the way in on Instagram for 90 days. I don't know what's going to be the rest of my life, right? Maybe in another 90 days, I'll pick a different social platform. But right now, I'm going to go all in on Instagram. Right now, I'm going to go all in on relationship coaching. Right now, I'm going to go all in on filling my group program. I'm just going to talk about my group program for 90 days and fill it up. Maybe I'll do another offer later, but right now, this is it. And I think it's being willing to commit short term. Commit short term, because that's all we really know anyway. Like, we don't know what's happening 90 days from now, right? So really asking yourself for the next 90 days, what do I want my non-work schedule to look like? What do I want my Sundays, my Saturdays? And for me, I like creating like little routines with my kids. For a little while, we were doing like Thursday nights dinner and drawing. So my kids love to draw. I don't know where they got it because I cannot draw to save my life. They laugh at my drawings, but I do it anyway. And so we get sandwiches from Sprouts, our local grocery store, and we play this little drawing game, which is just essentially like one person says a topic and the other people draw it, and then the person picks their favorite drawing. Like that's the whole game. Okay. But we love it. And then we put up these silly drawings on our fridge till the next week. And I just think these little routines, whether you have kids or not, maybe for you it's the gym, maybe for you it's Spanish lessons. I love italki for affordable Spanish lessons. Whatever it is for you, I really encourage you to create a routine with some spaciousness in it, but things that you know you can relax into so that you're not waking up on a Saturday like, what should I do with the day, right? And again, some of this might be already decided, but really being intentional to put in things for you, things that light you up, things that fuel you. I come to my work week so happy and fueled and excited to help my clients solve problems and talk about hard things because I have a really happy life the other days of the week. And even if your life sucks right now, do things to add in happiness. For me, for a while when I didn't have childcare and I didn't have very much money, I went to the YMCA, put my kids in that childcare, and I would either walk on the treadmill and listen to my podcast, or I would just like lie on the floor on a yoga mat between the treadmills for like 10 minutes and listen to my podcast. And I'm like, people can judge me, but here I am, right? Like access it in a way that's accessible to you. If you'd like to take this into action, I would love for you to map out on your Google Calendar or on a piece of paper your dream week, especially thinking about those 5 days a week that you're not working, and share it with me. Tag me on Instagram, send me an email. I love getting emails from you. I love to read them. And yes, if you haven't downloaded the 3-Day Entrepreneur free workbook, make sure you do that because that will walk you through the 3 days of work too, if that's useful for you, whatever order you want to do it in. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you like the show, please rate, review it, give it a 5-star review, give me kind words. I read every single review and it makes me so happy. And I love being here with you. There is 1,000 podcasts you could listen to, but I'm so grateful you decided on this one. I'm so grateful that you tuned in with me. It means the most. Wishing you a beautiful week. Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.